Across the world, several countries where civilian gun ownership is heavily restricted or effectively prohibited have still descended into economic collapse, political instability, and massive loss of life. Nations such as Venezuela, Haiti, Sudan, and Syria demonstrate a sobering reality. When governments fail, institutions crumble, and corruption replaces accountability, societies can implode even without an armed civilian population. In these countries, suffering has come through state violence, organized crime, famine, displacement, and civil unrest, not widespread private gun ownership. The absence of guns did not prevent chaos. It merely changed who controlled violence, often the state or armed factions aligned with power. However, when this global pattern is compared to the United States, the risks take on an entirely different and far more dangerous dimension. America is not only politically polarized and economically strained, but it is also the most heavily armed civilian society in human history, with more guns than people. Unlike countries that collapsed under instability without civilian weapons, the U.S. faces the possibility of instability with an unparalleled level of private firepower already embedded into everyday life. This danger is intensified by three uniquely American pressures. First is the mental health crisis. Millions of Americans live with untreated or undertreated mental health conditions in a system where care is expensive, inaccessible, or stigmatized. Second is the crushing cost of living. Housing, healthcare, education, and basic survival have become increasingly unaffordable, fueling desperation, anger, and hopelessness. Third is the erosion of trust in government, media, law enforcement, and even in one another, creating a volatile social environment where fear spreads faster than solutions. In countries without legal guns, political instability often results in mass suffering through repression or slow collapse. In America, instability could escalate far faster and far more violently. The combination of widespread firearms, psychological distress, economic pressure, and political radicalization creates a scenario where social breakdown would not be gradual, it would be explosive. Violence would not be confined to battlefields or protests. It could spill into neighborhoods, workplaces, schools, and homes. The comparison reveals a stark truth. If instability has destroyed nations without guns, its consequences in a nation saturated with them could be exponentially worse. Guns do not create instability on their own, but when instability arrives in a society already stretched thin, armed to the teeth, mentally overwhelmed, and economically squeezed, the margin for recovery becomes dangerously small. In that sense, America's gun reality does not just set it apart from the world, it raises the stakes of failure to historic levels. The lesson from collapsing nations is not simply about weapons or laws, but about the urgent need for economic fairness, mental health support, political accountability, and social cohesion. Without those foundations, any society can fall. With America's conditions, the fall would be faster, louder, and far more devastating.